L of a mess. Weekend construction stalls trains and businesses.
Vapor trail. E-cigarettes become teens' smoke of choice.
Why would you still be smoking regular cigarettes?
Constructing confidence. A Brooklyn mom builds social skills, one Lego at a time.
It's Friday, April the 17th, 2015. From Columbia University in New York City, this is Columbia News Tonight.
Good evening. Welcome to Columbia News Tonight. I'm Linda Zhang.
And I'm Khalil. We begin tonight with disruption on the L train. Now, it usually runs from 8th Avenue and 14th Street in Manhattan to Rockaway Parkway in Canarsie. But starting late tonight, it'll be shut down for 6 weekends in a row for repairs. Now, that means no service for destinations like Williamsburg and other popular points in Brooklyn. And as Sade Falabita reports, that's going to be an inconvenience for riders and businesses.
Major parts of the L line will be out of service for track work repairs over the next 5 weekends. There will be no service between the Lorimer stop in Williamsburg and 8th Avenue in Manhattan. Some are reporting it as apocalypse, others a big letdown. And one California tourist says it will be
a major pain in the butt.
That's because the L train has so many riders. An average of 80,000 riders passed through the Lorimer and Bedford stations each weekend in 2013, according to MTA statistics. Sarah McKenzie, an employee of a vintage boutique in Williamsburg, believes that a change in service may lead to a drop in business.
It's going to be a quiet weekend. I'd say a lot of the people that come in are tourists, and the main recommended train line is the L. So they're not going to know alternative routes to get here. So that's going to be really frustrating for them, and I think a lot probably won't venture out over here.
She herself may have some explaining to do to her boss this weekend.
I'm going to have to get the M train, walk a little bit further. Maybe I might just go out and get an Uber.
This isn't the first time L train riders have had to brace themselves for delays and shutdowns that inconvenience their travel. Companies like Uber are coming to the rescue this time, offering deals to save you time and money. Uber's pool service will charge a flat $5 fee for L train commuters who wish to travel between Brooklyn and Manhattan. The MTA is also providing free shuttle service for Brooklyn stops. Still, traveling between Williamsburg and Manhattan over the next 5 weekends could be quite the challenge. Sade Falabita, Columbia News Tonight.
It's been almost 36 years since 6-year-old Aiden Pates disappeared on his way to school. Pates' family, police, and New York have been plagued with the mystery for decades, but they may soon have answers. Liza Lucas is here with more.
Linda, those answers may come from a Manhattan jury. That jury has deliberated for 3 days, but now has gone home for the weekend. Come Monday, they will be back trying to decide the fate of Pedro Hernandez, accused of killing Eitan Pates in 1979. It was here back on May 25, 1979, when Eitan Pates last left his home at Prince and Green Streets. The blonde, blue-eyed child was heading to his school bus stop, walking alone for the first time, when he disappeared and was never seen again.
When Eitan disappeared, it changed the way parents and adults in general thought about raising children.
Cohen wrote a book in 2009 about the case.
I called the book After Eitan in part because there was a before Eitan and then there was an after Eitan. And before Eitan, parents said to their children, go out and play in the street and come home for dinner. After Eitan, we didn't let our children go anywhere.
The tragedy launched a national missing children's movement, and Missing Children's Day is now recognized on May 25th. Eitan was never found, but police and the Pates family suspected a convicted child molester for almost 20 years. But then,
in 2012, Pedro Hernandez appeared on the scene, and no one had ever heard of him before. His name had never come up in the investigation, and he confessed.
After being interrogated, Hernandez told police he abducted and strangled the boy. A key issue for the jury, Hernandez's mental state, and whether this is a true confession.
Or is this the fantasy of a man who is mentally unstable? I'm really glad that I'm not a juror, because I don't think that I would really struggle trying to decide how I felt about this case.
Cohen shared her admiration for the Pence family, who even in tragedy have tried to help other families. As of this afternoon, the jury went home for the weekend without a verdict, but will be back in court on Monday to continue deliberating. Joe?
All right, thank you, Liza. Well, tonight, controversy for a famous TV doctor, Mehmet Oz. He's taking to Twitter now to push back after a prominent group of doctors called for him to step down from his position at Columbia University's Medical Center. Charmaine Nero has that story.
Conversation about health and wellness. So let's start talking.
For 6 years, Dr. Mehmet Oz has balanced being a talk show host and a surgeon. Now a group of 10 prominent physicians are calling for him to step down from his faculty position. The doctors say that Dr. Oz is guilty of outrageous conflicts of interest and flawed judgments about what constitutes appropriate medical treatments. Part of the letter written by the doctors reads, "We are surprised and dismayed that Columbia University's College of Physicians and Surgeons would permit Dr. Mehmet Oz to occupy a faculty appointment, let alone a senior position in the Department of Surgery." Dr. Oz responded on Twitter, "I bring the public information that will help them on their path to their best selves. We provide multiple points of view, including mine, which is offered without conflict of interest." Some doctors disagree. They believe that Dr. Oz is spreading misinformation when he criticizes GMOs.
Dr. Oz is an extremely smart individual. He clearly must be an extremely talented surgeon. However, that does not give him the right to say whatever he wants and present it as fact. There is a limit as to how far you can go as a representative of a major academic institution.
A Columbia University spokesperson says that Columbia is committed to the principle of academic freedom and to upholding faculty members' freedom of expression for statements they make in public discussion. Dr. Oz said today that he will address his concerns about GMOs on an upcoming show. Charmaine Nero, Columbia News Tonight.
Today, the political world is watching New Hampshire, and they'll keep their eyes there for the next few days. It's called the Republican Leadership Summit. 9 top GOP hopefuls are there trying to make a good impression on the state that holds the nation's first presidential primary. For now, leaders in the Gannett state include Scott Walker, Jeb Bush, and Rand Paul. Hillary Clinton has made it official. She's running for president in 2016. It's her second run after losing to Barack Obama in the 2008 Democratic primary. Stephanie Beach reports on how Clinton's campaign will be different this second time. Stephanie?
Experts tell us that it is likely that Clinton will emphasize the fact that she is a woman, and if elected, she will be the first female president of the United States. And that could shatter the second glass ceiling in a row. If elected, she would succeed the nation's first Black president.
Everyday Americans need a champion, and I want to be that champion.
In her announcement video, Hillary Clinton says that she wants to be a champion for American families. Robert Shapiro, a professor of political science at Columbia University, predicts that Clinton will stress that family aspect throughout her campaign.
She emphasizes her gender, her having a little bigger of a family now with her daughter married and a grandchild, and maybe possibly use that as a way to appeal to families. And there's obviously a gender angle to that.
A gender angle that many cannot ignore.
I wish I could say we live in a world where gender should not have to do anything with your political standing or what you do, but it obviously does.
In every election since 1964, women have outnumbered men at the polls. And according to a 2009 Gallup poll, 41% of women identify as Democrats, nearly the same number as women who identify as Republicans and independents combined. Hillary Clinton has set up campaign headquarters right here in Brooklyn Heights. Now, if she wins the nomination, she'll be the first female from a major party to compete for the presidency. Many of the women that we spoke to said that while her gender plays a role, she'll have to do a lot more than that to prove that she's worthy to be elected.
It would be a wonderful opportunity for our country to have a female president, but is she the right one for us?
I think she is what Democrats have become, in other words, further to the right than I would like, much further representing corporate and money interests.
While Clinton's competitors have released attack ads, her gender has not been mentioned.
Hillary Clinton represents the worst of the Washington machine, the arrogance of power, corruption, and cover-up.
Her Republican rivals will have to tackle the balance of competing against Clinton without annoying female voters. So far, there are no women officially vying for the Republican Party's nomination.
It could be the case that up-and-coming Republican woman leaders would become very appealing as possible vice presidential candidates.
Hillary Clinton is currently campaigning in Iowa, and she has already spoken about her granddaughter Charlotte while on the trail. It appears that she may focus on her family, being a mother, grandmother, and of course, a female candidate. Joe?
Thank you, Stephanie. Andrew Cuomo has hardly left New York State since becoming governor. Now, he's headed to Cuba. His office says it's a working vacation. It's a combination of a family trip and a trade mission. Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul will stand in during his absence. And coming up, teenage smoking. Why lots more young people are saying yes to e-cigarettes and saying no to tobacco. And in our consumer report, pesticides on your fruits and vegetables. Are they dangerous enough that you should go organic? Welcome back. In Iraq, Izzat Ibrahim al-Duri, a leader among Sunni extremists, and at one time Saddam Hussein's top deputy, has been killed. Iraqi TV state media says he was killed in a security operation. Now, in the deck of cards that American troops used to identify high-level targets, al-Duri was the king of clubs. That's the 6th highest priority. And Italian police have arrested 15 Muslim migrants after witnesses say they threw 12 Christians overboard on a migrant smuggling ship headed from Libya to Italy. All 12 died. Police say that it was a hate crime. The attack was especially cruel because thousands of people every year make that ferry trip to flee war and poverty in both Africa and in the Middle East.
New York City lawmakers had a very productive Thursday. A bill was introduced, not voted on yet, but to make it illegal for employers to check an applicant's credit score when making a hiring decision. And council also passed a tighter anti-pollution law to regulate emissions from power generators, boilers, and stoves in restaurants and private homes. Speaking of fresh air, if you think you've seen more teens smoking e-cigarettes, you're not mistaken. Our Melissa Ferris tells us high schoolers across the nation prefer vaporizing tobacco more than smoking it.
Smoking is still the #1 cause of preventable death in the United States, killing almost 500,000 people per year. This trend is somewhat encouraging as it suggests that perhaps teens are turning to e-cigs in order to quit. E-cig smokers do not inhale the lethal chemicals or dangerous tar that often result in lung cancer, thus increasing their popularity and general appeal.
There are 3,300 students enrolled in Martin Luther King Junior High School located on West 65th Street in Amsterdam. While a rainy day might keep the students inside, a recent study released by the CDC this past Thursday suggests that an increase of high schoolers who smoke e-cigarettes, 2 million in the United States, might make getting a little wet worth it.
Specifically, the report shows that e-cig use among high school students tripled in just 1 year, from 6,600,000 to 2 million. Interestingly, too, e-cig use also tripled among middle school students. Because e-cigs are so new, scientists are not sure about the negative long-term health effects of the popular device. More importantly, e-cigarette smokers still inhale the nicotine that they would otherwise inhale smoking tobacco. Substance abuse researchers are concerned that e-cigarettes are extremely harmful to adolescent development.
But it facilitates the release of a gene, delta phosB, which is related to reward, which means that once a child is exposed to nicotine, if exposed to cocaine, they're going to be much more likely to experience positive effects and continue to use. So whether you have nicotine in a cigarette or nicotine in a, in an e-cigarette, it's nicotine.
And the FDA is taking notice of this trend, urging parents that e-cigarettes should not be seen as a healthier choice. The legal age to buy e-cigarettes in New York City is 21, but clearly millions of minors are getting around the law. Melissa Ferris, Columbia News Tonight.
Pesticides in produce. Now, Americans are concerned about their pesticide intake, but how do we avoid the chemicals found in and on fruits and vegetables? That's a lot less clear. Shannon Louis-Brand has this week's Consumer Report live from Morningside's West Side Market. Shannon?
Joe, as you can see behind me, there's a variety of fruits and vegetables here at West Side Market. And as the old saying goes, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. But it doesn't keep the pesticides on that apple out of your body. A recent Consumer Report survey says average Americans have 29 pesticides in their system. Carolyn Brown, a registered dietitian at a private nutrition practice, says she encourages many clients to go organic to avoid the toxic chemicals.
We really want to get rid of the pesticides in people's diets. We're seeing major links now between pesticide intake and cancer rates increasing, not to mention sort of water runoff and environmental hazards too. So it's really everything from health to environment.
Consumer Reports also links pesticides with certain health problems, such as birth defects, Alzheimer's, breast cancer, depression, and more. But the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency says the presence of pesticide residue tends to be at safe levels. However, Charles Benbrook, an expert in agriculture, says to protect yourself, it is better to eat organic.
If a family consistently picked organic fruits and vegetables and fruit juices compared to another family that was consuming the same fruits and vegetables but buying them from conventional brands, that family would reduce their pesticide dietary exposure and risk by at least 95%.
Here at West Side Market in Morningside Heights, the manager tells us that 18% of the food here is organic, and that number is growing with a high demand for organic food in New York City.
It's been steadily increasing from virtually nothing, not just a few years ago, to what it is now.
Eating organic can be pricey. On average, it costs almost 50% more than conventional produce. If cost is a problem, the Environmental Working Group says look out for the Dirty Dozen, a list of 12 fruits and vegetables you always should buy organic. This list includes apples, strawberries, celery, cucumbers, and potatoes.
You are what you eat, and so food should be expensive. I'm sorry to say it, that we should be investing in our health and our bodies.
And you need to watch the labels. Just because it says natural does not mean it's pesticide-free. Read the stickers and look for the official green USDA organic seal. Some New Yorkers say they think there's a difference in the taste, too.
I definitely can tell the difference between organic celery and non-organic celery. It tastes better when it's organic.
But not everyone is convinced.
My wife swears she can tell the difference between organic and non-organic, that it tastes better. I don't believe her. I think it's psychological.
Consumer Report says while eating organic is the healthiest option, eating a diet rich in fruits and vegetables should still be most important. So you may be able to eat that apple after all, but you might want to make sure it's organic. Linda?
Thank you, Shannon. A dangerous dentist? A White Plains woman claims to be a certified dentist was arraigned today on 3 counts of reckless endangerment. 45-year-old Valbona Yazayuric pulled teeth and filled root canals of unsuspecting patients who say they still have pain. Just ahead, a New York parent's nightmare. Your child on a waiting list for kindergarten. And in our focus report, a Chinese merchandise store known far and wide falls victim of the high-price gentrification. As one school year ends, woes of another begins. This week, the Department of Education released new numbers for elementary school students on wait lists for highly regarded schools. Michaela Vilo has the story.
For school children, springtime brings promises of summer vacation.
What's your favorite part about the school?
That, I don't know everything because it's such a great school.
But not every Upper West Side kid is as lucky as Paloma. Many parents of 4- and 5-year-olds are stuck on wait lists.
PS 199 is an elementary school here on the Upper West Side. Last year, it added a new section of kindergarten to help accommodate those students on the wait list. But still, there are 93 students on this year's list, making it one of the longest wait lists in the city.
The construction of many high-rise buildings in the neighborhood is taxing on school resources.
There's so much pressure on our teachers and everyone to perform, and yet we're overcrowding the classroom because we're not actually thinking through the holistic situation.
Recent Department of Education numbers show that the number of schools with wait lists has decreased by 25% over the past year. However, the number of kids on the wait list has stayed practically the same. This suggests the most popular schools remain in high demand. Experts say that small class sizes at an early age leads to stronger performance in high school.
You have to talk about this and make the investment where the communities see, in this case, they're saying we want early childhood. In some cases, it means that dreaded word, more taxes.
But some parents say they pay enough and don't want their tax dollars to go towards just adding another section.
With the high property taxes on the Upper West Side, we should have the best schools in the country here. There's no excuse for this.
The city's Department of Education says if you're a parent on a wait list, enroll your child in one of your backup schools. Enrollment there will not remove you from the wait list. Make sure your preferred school knows that you are still interested in attending. Michaela Vielo, Columbia News Tonight.
Soho was once home to family-owned shops, but like many boroughs in New York, mom-and-pop shops can't seem to keep up with the rising rent. In our Focus report, Samantha Miles tells us why a historic institution is preparing to close its doors.
Here in Soho, Pearl River Mart will soon be packing up more than customer orders. The store, known for beautiful Chinese and Japanese goods, was told the rent would more than quadruple.
It's not a surprise at all. No, look at what's happening in the neighborhood. You know this is going to happen.
This isn't just an Asian goods store. It's a historic institution. The shop opened up 44 years ago in New York City and was one of the first businesses to offer Chinese imported goods. Yi Wang, an employee, regrets that customers will no longer have the special store in Soho.
The last 2-3 weeks, customers' reaction, they like the store being so spacious, aisles of fun items that they can see under one roof.
Selling these goods can no longer pay the rent, which is being raised astronomically from $100,000 per month to $500,000.
To give you an idea of how much it costs to house these vases, it's about $166 per square foot. The owners tell me they have two options, either hike up the prices or move to another location.
Rents continue to soar throughout Soho, and it's gotten tough for local merchants to compete with the big national chains. Some of those chains are willing to lose money in Soho in order to use the storefront for brand awareness.
Now we'll have another Starbucks or a Dwayne Reed Pharmacy. You know, do we need another one? Perhaps not.
Coming here because the store is live, you know, so colorful. You smell, you touch, you see. People just like the shopping experience, which is not replaceable at all.
The Chens are looking for a new location, but they know this spot in Soho is as unique as the items they offer. Samantha Miles, Columbia News Tonight.
The sports network, ESPN, has decided to suspend one of its reporters, Britt McHenry, after a video gone viral shows her berating a parking lot clerk. She uses offensive language and she hurls insults at this woman. Now, the video is pretty shocking.
Do you feel good about your job? So I could be a college dropout and do the same thing?
The exchange only got worse from here, and this tow lot camera captured all of it.
Without Deshaun Jackson, the Eagles...
ESPN reporter Britt McHenry, known for her coverage of NFL teams, says she was caught in a moment of frustration after her car was towed and she had to pay to get it back. She apparently took that frustration out on the tow lot attendee.
Because I'm on television and you're in a trailer, honey. Lose some weight, baby girl.
The video, which quickly went viral, shows McHenry continuing to insult the worker's appearance and her job.
I'm in the news, sweetheart. I will sue this place. Okay.
After the video spread, McHenry issued an apology on Twitter, saying, "In an intense and stressful moment, I allowed my emotions to get the best of me. The message continued, I'm so sorry for my actions and will learn from this mistake."
We welcome in Britt McHenry from Minneapolis.
McHenry was suspended, though many are calling for ESPN to let her go permanently. And at one point, the hashtag #FireBrittMcHenry was trending on Twitter. ESPN decided to suspend McHenry for 1 week, but as you can imagine, the damage to her reputation might last a lot longer than that. Well, coming up, Trying to figure out what to do in Morningside? We've got an app for you and a couple of very cute additions to the Bronx Zoo, but you might not want to get close enough to pet them. Having trouble navigating Morningside Heights? Well, now there's an app for that. The Morningside app keeps you up to date with neighborhood information, and in our Morningside report this week, Valerie Edwards shows us how it works.
There's a lot to see and do in Morningside Heights, whether you're a student on campus or a tourist visiting the cathedral. If you're not sure where to go first, now there's an app for that.
There is no other neighborhood or community that has an app that is exciting and interesting and smooth and sophisticated as this app. I'm really proud to say that.
The Morningside Area Alliance, a nonprofit, has a new app that students, tourists, and residents can use to explore Morningside Heights. Columbia and Barnard are members.
The app was born from the desire that students and neighbors have one place to go to experience all that Morningside Heights has to offer.
Here's how the app works. After you open the app, you can scroll through many options, like featured events or places to eat. The app shows information of the area's most well-known restaurants, such as Tom's and Deluxe. Featured on the app today was a Barnard College bike-a-thon.
It has helpful links for community resources and helping students who are new to the area understand who represents them, what sort of services are here in the community for them.
Anyone can submit an event listing on the Alliance website as long as the event takes place in Morningside Heights. Before the app, the Alliance's weekly newsletter was the only way to get information.
When people are out and about, they can access it. I didn't know about it yet. I only knew about the main newsletter that comes out on my laptop, but now I'm going to check my iPhone.
Jennifer Beiser tells us that this is just the beginning.
We're going to be featuring volunteer opportunities and just simple ways to help out in the neighborhood. Maybe someone's lost their dog, or they're looking to volunteer on a weekend and maybe do some planting in Morningside Park. You'll be able to see that and connect with those opportunities.
So the next time you're looking for a fun local event, you can check out the Morningside Heights app. Valerie Edwards, Columbia News Tonight.
The Eagles have landed. New York City has first pair of bald eagles after over 100 years. Now you won't believe where they live. Renee Wunderlich has the story.
Take a look at this bald eagle now nesting in New York. This is Vito, and with him is his mate, Murica. They've built their nest in the South Shore of Staten Island, and the happy couple is now showing signs of incubating eggs. Experts say bald eagles used to be a common sight in the 5 boroughs, but left the city decades ago because of heavy pollution.
Environmental contaminants, particularly DDT, really decimated the population of bald eagles in the United States, and bald eagles have really made an astounding recovery since the ban of DDT in 1972.
Audubon Society officials say they haven't released the eagles' exact location for fear of poachers. Officials say the birds are nested on land owned by the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation. The 2 eagles actually visited last year to build what experts call a test nest. Now they're back to raise their young. The eaglets are set to hatch in May. Renee Wunderlich, Columbia News Tonight.
The latest monkey business at the Bronx Zoo involves a pair of precious newborns. 2 western lowland gorillas born in January recently made their debut. These species considered critically endangered in the wild. These 2 haven't been named yet because we don't know their gender. So for now, they can just be called adorable. Coming up on Columbia News Tonight, building confidence and social connections with America's oldest toy building blocks.
Welcome back. It's not uncommon for kids to use Legos to build toy structures, buildings, boats, even Hobbit movie towers. But one Brooklyn woman is teaching young kids to use Legos to build up their confidence and their social skills. Justin Morton brings us that story.
So the corner bricks,
Eleanor Rogers has been fascinated with Legos since she was a little girl in Ireland. Her love of building Lego sets lasted until her adulthood. As a mother of two, the 37-year-old was inspired by her son to start a Lego workshop. He got the bug for Legos at summer camp.
He's not a joiner, and I was like, yes, he finally wants to do something. And I thought, there's got to be a Lego after-school program somewhere that we can sign up for, and I couldn't find one.
They're good for firing things.
Eleanor says the workshop focuses on 3 things.
1, build following instructions. That's like what you do with your own Lego kits. 2, build using your own imagination with a big supply of Lego. And 3, play.
Hey, kids! Legos have been favorites among children for over 80 years, becoming a blockbuster and even a Legoland amusement park loved by millions around the world. Brandon had difficulty with socializing before joining the workshop. But not only has he developed socially, he also says the Lego workshop has helped him develop his technical skills.
I learn stuff here that I don't learn at school, like some things about Lego. We're learning how to build stuff.
Eleanor's Lego workshop is changing children's lives. Here with James and Nora as they use their creative minds to create wonderful Lego sets. Justin Morton, Columbia News Tonight.
That's Columbia News Tonight this week. I'm Joe Khalil.
And I'm Linda Zhang. Good night.